Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I see people are starting to trickle in here, so we will go ahead and get started. So, good afternoon. Welcome to the University of Miami Rosenstiel School's virtual open house for our Master Professional Science program. My name is Heidi Van Buskirk. I'm a senior program manager in our graduate studies office. I'm also an alum of our MPS program. I earned my degree in marine conservation in 2020, and we'll be talking a little bit more about the marine conservation track a little bit later on in the webinar. But we're very happy to have you all join us. We have a great lineup of speakers for you today. You're going to get to hear from some of our wonderful faculty members, as well as some of our current students and fellow alumni. If you have any questions throughout the event, please feel free to drop them into the Q&A. We'll be replying to questions as we go. This webinar is also going to be recorded and available on our YouTube channel afterwards in case you missed anything or you just want to go back and review the information. At the end of the event today, you'll have the opportunity to join a track-specific breakout room, so you'll be able to speak directly with our track leaders and get answers to any remaining questions that you might have. Those sessions are not going to be recorded, so I do hope you're able to stick around and join us for that afterwards. Just getting into some quick background information to let you all know a little bit more about the Rosenstiel School and who we are. We are one of the leading academic atmospheric and oceanographic research institutions in the world. We're located right out here on Virginia Key, just off the coast of downtown Miami, Florida, which makes us the perfect hub for the types of marine and atmospheric research that we do. We offer three different degree types in all five of our academic departments. So we offer a traditional Master of Science, the Accelerated Master Professional Science, which we're going to dive into a little bit more today, and a PhD. These are all five of our academic departments, so if you have any questions about them, feel free to visit their websites, or you can reach out to the program directors that are listed here by email. So why study at Rosenstiel School? There are so many reasons, and you're going to hear more of them today, but we've tried to narrow it down to just three for this beginning part. One being our expert faculty. You'll have the opportunity to work with over 100 faculty who are really at the top of their fields in earth, marine, and atmospheric science research. We also have some really unique facilities to the Rosenstiel School and just to South Florida in general. We have our Sustain Wind Wave Tank, which is one of the largest hurricane simulation tanks in the world. We have our Aircraft Center for Earth Studies. We also have our research vessel, the Walton Smith, that's pictured here, which makes it really easy for us to do seagoing research right from our backyard. And last but not least, we have an excellent diverse community. So you'll be able to develop friendships and collaborate with faculty, researchers, and students from all across the globe. I just want to touch on our PhD programs real quick because our application period is still open for those. So we do offer 5-year fully funded PhD assistantships. If you are curious about the 2026 opportunities, you can scan the QR code here. Our priority deadline has passed, but our regular deadline is on January 8th, so you still have about 2 more days to fill an application for our PhD or MS programs. Today, we're just going to be focusing on our MPS degrees. So we offer MPS degrees in 15 tracks that are listed here. I believe we have about 7 or 8 representatives from these tracks here to talk with you today. And before I pass it over to our MPS program managers, I just want to touch on our deadlines for the MPS program really quickly. So our priority deadline this year is January 15th. So students who apply before the January 15th deadline and are accepted into the program will be invited to attend our Rosenstiel School MPS preview weekend in March. That'll give you an opportunity to come on campus, visit us in person, and learn a little bit more about the program. You'll be able to talk with our track leaders, our alumni, folks like me and Chelsea and Kayla, who you're going to hear from in a bit as well. So if you have questions on how to apply or are looking for instructions, you can go ahead and scan this QR code. And now, without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Chelsea Bagnell and Kayla McEntee to tell you a little bit more about the MPS degree here.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us at Open House today. My name is Kayla McEntee,
And I'm Chelsea Begno.
and we are both alumni of the MPS program, and we are also the senior program managers of the Master Professional Science program. So today we're really happy to tell you more about the graduate program. And before we really get started, you'll notice as we go through the slides that our presentation is comprised mostly of images. So these are real pictures of our actual MPS students taken during field courses, travel courses, and internship work. And if you also look really closely, you can spot Chelsea, Heidi, and I as we make appearances throughout the slides as well. So the MPS program is designed to give students hands-on experience in their field of choice. So I hope you have a much clearer idea of what that looks like by the end of this presentation.
Hi again, everyone. It's so nice to see so many familiar names in the chat. So happy that you guys can join us. So the MPS program is home to the largest population of graduate students at Rosenstiel, and it's an accelerated professional science degree program that equips students with the knowledge, training, and real-world experience to prepare for careers in today's professional science job market. Our students complete the program typically within 15 to 18 months and go on to work in various sectors like nonprofit organizations, industry, and local, state, federal, and tribal government entities where the employment demands are growing. So our program offers an interdisciplinary curriculum that provides a holistic graduate education of theoretical learning and practical applications. We offer 15 unique tracks to choose from. Some are as specialized as aquaculture and broadcast meteorology, and others are as broad as marine conservation and climate and society. Each of our tracks is managed by one or more track leaders from the Rosenstiel faculty who are experts in that field of science. The recommended courses, suggested plans of study, potential career paths, and additional information for each of these tracks can be viewed on the Degree Tracks tab on the MPS website, and we've conveniently placed the QR code for you here for you to snag that URL.
Our students typically complete 2 semesters of coursework before they begin the internship phase of the program. And during the internship phase, they apply everything that they've learned in their classes to an independent master's project at the host organization of their choosing. Our students can pursue hypothesis-driven research projects, which are similar to Master of Science thesis projects that can potentially be published in an academic journal. Or students can do a non-hypothesis-driven project where they will solve a problem or create a project for an organization. This can look like evaluating an existing education program, providing best practice recommendations, or creating a new aquaculture feeding protocol for hatchery-raised fish. Our program offers flexibility in selecting an internship opportunity, and this allows students to choose the location and the duration of their internship and explore new interests in science. While students are responsible for applying to opportunities and securing their internships, our office provides resources and support to assist with student professional development and internship and career searches, and we'll discuss that more in a few slides.
So being graduates of this program, Kayla and I like to talk about the assets that really drew us to the MPS program and the things that we appreciated most during our student experience. So I really enjoyed the variety of course offerings that were made available to students. This really allowed me to explore my interests and discover some topics in science that I didn't know much about previously. Some of the classes that I really enjoyed and gained a unique skill set from were the citizen science course, marine conservation outreach, and professional writing and science communication. Something else that I really appreciate by this place, which you will probably hear from a lot of our speakers today, is that we have a really welcoming and fun atmosphere at the Rosenstiel School, and we really do have a vast network of connections within the community.
This is also the slide where I'd like to draw your attention to the bottom right of your screen, where you will see Chelsea plugging her nose from the sulfur fumes at the top of a volcano in the Galapagos, from our Galapagos course. So something that I really appreciated about the program when I was looking into it and applying is that it was open to students of all backgrounds, meaning, so my undergraduate degrees are in public health and psychology, but I was able to apply to the marine conservation track, and my background ultimately contributed to interesting class discussions with students of all types of undergraduate experiences, people who had humanities degrees all the way through physical science degrees, everything in between. And I also really liked that the program was flexible, which meant I could choose my own internship and another way, kind of choose my own adventure through it. So we allowed students to tailor their curriculum to specifically prepare them for the career they want to pursue after graduation. All your classes that you choose, while there is a suggested plan of study, you can ultimately pick the electives you want to slot into those classes and really make sure that your experience here is exactly what you're hoping for.
Here in the MPS office, we know that navigating an accelerated and flexible graduate program can be challenging. So we offer 2 resources in the form of libraries to support all of our students. So you'll see in these screenshots here, we have the MPS Resource Library and the Professional Development Library. Our MPS Resource Library houses resources for students to be successful during their time in graduate school as a student. such as seminars focused on career paths in professional science, scientific writing, and much more, which is captured in the screenshot. And our professional development library is our one-stop shop for all things internship and career related. In this library, we do have internship and job openings, job boards and listservs, sample resumes, and many more resources.
The MPS website is another great resource for our prospective and current students. And for prospective students specifically, we encourage you to explore the prospective students tab for some helpful resources during your application process. We've highlighted a few of the most commonly referred to tabs and web pages here in these images. And then we also have a QR code here that can take you right to it. And we are currently accepting applications, as Heidi mentioned. So our priority application deadline for fall 2026 is again January 15th. And applicants who apply by January 15th and are accepted into the program will be invited to our special MPS preview weekend to visit our beautiful waterfront campus, to meet current students, faculty, and staff, and to explore the Miami area at large. If you're not ready to apply by January 15th, we will be accepting applications until June 1st.
If you have any questions about the MPS program, especially after you learn more about it today through the virtual open house, we do encourage you to join us for our virtual drop-in sessions that are hosted by Kayla, Heidi, and myself. There's no appointment necessary, and we address our participants one-on-one. That way we can maintain privacy with individuals. So you'll see here, this information's on our website. We have specific dates listed out for January and February. As we progress through the year, we'll add more dates for you to drop in during March, April, and May. So we hope that you'll consider using that resource to ask for more information about our program. And if you have any questions in general and you can't make one of those sessions, we do invite you to meet with us one-on-one. We do have virtual drop-in sessions for Kayla, Heidi, and myself. These QR codes here will take you to our Calendly page where you can check our availability. If there's not something that works out and you'd like to meet with us sooner, you're welcome to send us an email, and our emails are listed here. If you have general questions about MPS applications, we do invite you to email gradadmissions@earth.miami.edu, and we look forward to speaking with you. Thank you so much for being here today.
Great. Thank you so much, Chelsea and Kayla. Next, we're going to jump into our MPS tracks. First, we're going to talk about our natural hazards and catastrophes track. Here to talk about that is Professor Özgakman.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yep, looks good.
All right, let me make this a bit smaller. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm here to talk about natural hazards and catastrophes degree track. What are these hazards? Of course, hurricanes, which are very popular in Miami. This is a volcano in Italy. They live, society lives with these hazards. This is a flooding aftermath in Libya, flooding aftermath in Germany. Okay, no matter what your technology level is, you are affected by these disasters. And this track can be also considered as environmental risk analysis and management. So risk is a very big word. What is risk? It's a very deep topic. Just to show you how deep it is, this guy was a government official 20 years ago, and he actually had the most concise description of what risk is. Risk is about future unknown and uncertainties. So what are these classes of uncertainty? So this is what is known for. Four classes of uncertainty. Known knowns. There are things that we know what they are. So that's a check, that's known. But also there are unknowns that we know. Okay, that's also kind of known. Okay, but there are unknown unknowns. We have no idea what's going on. It comes out of the blue. So those are the most dangerous. And also there are unknown knowns. Those are things that we used to know but forgot. Okay, that's also unknown. So those are the primary classes of uncertainties and risks that we deal with. And then the question becomes, do we have impact on society due to these risks associated with natural hazards? The answer is yes. US has experienced 400 disasters exceeding $1 billion, meaning large, not everything counts, over the last 40, 50 years. 9 per year, once every month. The cost is in the trillions, and you'll know why it's so expensive just in a moment. And what are these things? Typically, storms, wildfires, drought, heat waves, flooding, as you've seen, tornadoes, tropical cyclones, and so on and so forth, almost equally distributed all over the United States. So this is just United States, but it's a global situation. What's the social response to these catastrophes? It turns out it's insurance. Okay, so what is insurance? Distributing this risk that may impact one person or one town or one country over the entire population. That's the main idea of risk insurance. And this goes back 6,000 years, okay, to Mesopotamia, and then again to Italy and Venice and British Empire and the Germans and the US. It's not continuous, okay? It's been reinvented again and again and again as civilizations rise and fall. So that's why it's an unknown known, okay? We remember how to deal with these things again and again and again. It always comes back to the same idea, insurance. That's why catastrophes are very much linked with insurance and therefore with finance. I'm going to come back to finance. Now, this time, meaning that in our civilization, it's a bit different because if you look at this, the global population as a function of 12,000 years, you may know or you may not know that there has been a tremendous increase over the last 100 years, especially since the Second World War. We are now 8 billion. And this global population is distributed around the globe, as you can see, still increasing. And every person has property. You may not have a house now, but you'll get a job and get a house. So as there are more people, there's more property, and therefore there's more exposure to natural hazards, and therefore financial cost. And this is a graph that applies to United States only over the last 45 years, and the natural disasters are costing more dollars. It's not necessarily there's more natural disasters, but human societies are more exposed to these disasters and financial costs are huge. And therefore, this track is intimately linked with finance, okay? And you can get good jobs. So the plan of study, every track has kind of similar number of courses. We teach about geological hazards, atmospheric hazards, oceanic hazards, hydrological hazards, statistics, some kind of a risk, and also we have very nice recent developing connections with the business school, and I highly recommend students to take finance classes because that makes the whole package correct. Popular internships are typically in some kind of catastrophe modeling in reinsurance companies. Reinsurance companies are the companies that insure insurance companies, and it's global. Okay, because the risk is global, humans are global, property is global. And you will not be writing a code in Python for hurricane or something like that. That's not what catastrophe modeling means. You have a hazard module which works with exposure to hazards module, vulnerabilities. Some societies are more vulnerable, some societies are less, and financial modules. So this is the whole package. And jobs are available. All our graduates are finding good jobs despite economic fluctuations because properties are not affected by economic fluctuations. It's just properties and natural. So it's immune to global economic things. So that's the nice thing about it. It's intimately connected with finance. And then if you have questions, I can address that. I just want to introduce myself. I should have done it at the beginning. And this is my email, but our MPS department, as you've seen, the office is is doing a great job and they can inform you. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Professor Asgakman. Next, we have Applied Remote Sensing MPS track with Professor Romiser.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Roland Romiser, professor in the Department of Ocean Sciences, and I'm the track leader of Applied Remote Sensing. Here are my slides. So let's see. That's a picture of our school. So in this track, you learn about satellite remote sensing techniques, mostly satellite, also some land-based radar techniques and so on. So what can we measure from satellites? what instruments and satellites do we have available? Hundreds of satellites nowadays, with a variety of instruments that can measure many different things. How do we process and interpret the data? Also, how do we obtain the data? That's under the other bullet already. Then, so what are the typical job perspectives? So our students so far have gone into positions where they have to do routine data analysis for government agencies, or data processing for universities and research organizations where they get involved in research projects. They get hired to just analyze the data for scientists working there who will use that for their research. There are also commercial service providers that get more and more satellite data nowadays that need to be processed in some standard way to be provided to the customers. We had one student who went to a policy-making agency or policy-making place in Washington, D.C. She did that for an internship already, and then she found a job at such an institution. Our track is small. We have only 2 to 5 students per year, which means you have a pretty close relationship to your professors. All the classes are usually small, and you can always come to ask questions and to talk to us about your career plans and about contents of the lectures that you don't understand and so on. So you get a pretty individual and personal treatment if you want. Here are some examples of satellite data, so you know what I'm talking about. This is a high-resolution radar image of the Strait of Gibraltar at the Mediterranean Sea. It's about 100 kilometers squared, and you can see some features there that we will discuss in one of the lectures. This is another example of a global sea surface temperature field made from radiometer data from several days from satellites that circle around the Earth every 100 minutes, and they scan around, and after several days, you have such a map of the global temperature field. So we discuss how these instruments work and how the data processing works. Our track has only 2 core courses right now, which I teach in the spring semester: Introduction to Ocean Remote Sensing and Advanced Ocean Remote Sensing. There are some recommended additional courses, such as the GIS course here in the EVR department, also a statistics course taught by Beth Babcock of the MBE department. There are many other choices of additional courses you can take, and I think this is one a feature that makes our MPS track really attractive. This year, I have several MPS students who were not so much interested in the ocean, but they were interested in using satellite data for other applications in some kind of land applications or related to biology questions. And so they can take my courses and they can take biology courses or geoscience courses in addition to learn about their applications. There are also many internship options. So altogether, you can tailor your MPS curriculum really to your career plans, to your individual plans. And for the internship, as I say, there are many options as well. One possibility may be this. We have our own satellite receiving and processing facility here. Not many other universities can say that. This belongs to our school. It's about 45 minutes south of here. CSTAR is the Center of Southeastern Tropical Advanced Remote Sensing. We have a bunch of people sitting there who download satellite data, who process satellite data for our projects and for other customers. And we will certainly visit CSTAR so you can see what's going on there. That's a part of one of the lectures. But there are also opportunities to do an internship there, maybe even to find a job there after completing your MPS degree. And I think that's all. There will be there's my email address. So if you have further questions, send me an email. You can have Zoom meeting or whatever you want to discuss further if this is the right track for you. I hope many of you will choose this MPS track. It's a really good track. It should have more students than we have had in the last few years. Thank you. and you can talk to me again in our breakout session later.
Thank you, Professor Rothmeiser. Next, we have Professor Babcock here to talk about our fisheries management and conservation track.
Hi, everyone. Are you seeing my presentation?
Yes, we can.
All right. So my name is Beth Babcock. I'm a fisheries scientist in the Department of Marine Biology and Ecology, and I run the fishery conservation and management track. What this track does is it's a mix of sort of quantitative work, programming, statistics, as well as social science, economics, more applied social science classes, focusing on the science between sustainable fisheries. So it's a good training program if you want a job with a state or federal fisheries agency, with an environmental NGO that focuses on fish and other marine animals. And I think one of our big selling points is that we have a lot of access to our professional contacts at the NOAA National Marine Fisheries Service, at the state of Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, and many other state and federal agencies, as well as environmental NGOs and fishing NGOs like the Billfish Commission and many others. So you'll definitely have some good opportunities to meet with the professionals in those fields. Their prerequisites are really an interest in fish and fisheries, and an interest in math and/or programming. You don't necessarily have to have any particular background in terms of the undergraduate major that you had or the courses that you took. We have had students who are very successful who come from a background in something else, and they've always been interested in fish, and they want to move over into fisheries, so they come and take our program. So as long as you've got a little bit of interest in math and stats, and in fish, then you should be all right, even if your background is in biology or math or economics or whatever your background is. Our core curriculum, I should say, to be honest, that the person who caught that big red grouper is not an MPS student. That's one of the PhD students in my lab. But he does sometimes take out MPS students as interns. He's doing a study on red grouper parasites. Anyway, the core curriculum in the fisheries conservation and management track are classes on marine population dynamics, GIS, statistics and data analysis. The ones marked with asterisks, socioeconomics and management, ocean law and governance, those are things that you can replace with an elective if you want to take something else. Management and conservation of marine ecosystems, those are kind of the ones that you'll see on the website. Some electives that most people take are Bayesian statistics, which is a class that I teach, really focusing on fisheries and applied ecology modeling. There's data science classes, spatial modeling, all of those sorts of things. And in terms of internships and project topics, a lot of our fishery conservation and management MPS students end up doing internships at the NOAA National Marine Fisheries Service. We have the Southeast Fisheries Science Center right here across the street from the Rosenstiel School. And we also have an organization called CMIS, which is the Cooperative Institute in Marine and Atmospheric Sciences, which is a joint institute between the University of Miami and the National Marine Fisheries Service, which hires a lot of research scientists. So many of our students do internships either with CMIS or with NOAA across the street, working on something to do with fishery stock assessment support, species distribution models, a lot of different statistical analyses, or even doing fieldwork in fisheries biology. We've had people work for the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. A lot of students have worked on sea turtles for some reason. We do a lot of work on bycatch in the fisheries program, and quite a few of our students have gone on to use the kinds of modeling approaches they've learned in our classes to work on protected species like sea turtles and marine mammals. A lot of people have worked on whales and dolphins. Other state and federal agencies, national and international conservation NGOs. And to contact me, I'm ebabcock@miami.edu. I'll try to answer, I've got a typo there. I'll try to answer my email within a day or two, but I don't always get to it. So if I don't get back to you, email me again. Then we can set up a Zoom call to have a discussion. All right, that's it from me.
Thank you so much, Professor Babcock. Next, we're going to talk about our Climate and Society MPS track. Here to talk about that is Professor Amy Clement.
Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing? Happy New Year. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull up my screen, and it's not working. Okay. So I am here to talk about the Climate Society track. Let me start with this slide. Um, this is a track that is inherently interdisciplinary, as dictated, I think, by the issue of climate, which we know no one discipline can solve on its own. It is truly a problem where humans and the environment interact in ways that are really complex. And in terms of responding to and finding solutions for the climate problem, this actually has to take place across lots of disciplines. So our track is a jointly led track between the Department of Atmospheric Science, which is shown here on the left. So myself and Dr. Brian Soden are the co-track leaders for that department, and the Department of Environmental Science and Policy. The chair of that department is Dr. Katie Mock, and she is the co-leader for that department. Both of these departments do cutting edge research in those two areas. And I would say the best thing about this track is that you are taking classes with people who are at the cutting edge of climate science and social science related to climate adaptation and preparedness. And again, like Roland said, our track is fairly small, so you have a lot of face time with faculty in our track as well. The Department of Atmospheric Sciences has a number of different research areas on climate, weather, remote sensing, atmospheric chemistry. And all of those, there are classes in all of those areas that are offered to our students. On the environmental science and policy side, there are a number of classes that can relate to either law or social science methodologies or economics. All the curriculum is very flexible in this track. We have two key classes that we take, two essentially core classes. One is a course called Climate Change, and it's focused on physical aspects of the climate. How do we know the climate is changing? How do we know why? How do we predict the future? That class just teaches you all the tools of the trade and physical science of climate. And then the other core class is a class called Climate Adaptation. It's also listed on our website as Climate and Society, but it's focused on adaptation. And that course is taught by Katie Mock, who is a world expert in climate risks and preparedness. And this is her lab page here where you can go find out more information about what happens in her lab. The rest of the courses tend to be dictated based on what students' interests are. Our students come in with a wide range of backgrounds and a wide range of interests. I've had everyone from people who had a master's degree in meteorology already in this track to people who have really not taken anything but basic science classes in college, and some who hadn't even taken math classes since high school. And so we try to adapt each of the courses and the curriculum to fit the skills and interests of the student. And we've been able to do this very successfully. Our students end up in internships in local government. We have an excellent partnership with Miami-Dade County, where we have an intern there pretty much every year. We have a lot of our students doing internships on science communication and outreach, whether through the CMIS, that's just the NOAA Cooperative Institute you just heard Dr. Babcock speak about, or other local agencies talking about climate, for example, the National Park Service, or national or non-governmental organizations in the area. Also, we have very strong partnerships with a number of climate-related NGOs here in South Florida. In terms of jobs, students go on to work at federal agencies. They work in local government. They work in NGOs. A number of them have actually gone on because they got so excited about the research to do a PhDs in climate and society at various institutions. So there are, I think, and we also have some students who have gone on to work in the insurance sector. So they get a lot of training in atmospheric science and social science methods, and they use that in the insurance world as well. So there are increasing private sector opportunities coming. This is a picture of kind of the range of things that we have our students doing. Some do field work, some are working in government, some are working at labs. We also have a Climate Resilience Institute at the University of Miami. It's a brand new institute just established about a year ago, where they're pulling on the institute's job is basically to link all parts of the university that are working on climate science in order to come up with solutions that for resilient solutions.
Professor
And
Coleman, I hate to interrupt you. I'm so sorry. We do have to move on. We are at
okay,
time. I do have to pass things over to our aquaculture track. I'm so sorry.
sure.
If you're available for a breakout room afterwards, I'll direct people to
Yeah,
connect with you afterwards after the session.
I'll be there.
Thank you so much. We're going to pass things off to Professor Stieglitz, who's going to talk a little bit about our aquaculture track next. I'm not sure if Professor Stieglitz is, yes, he's there.
Sorry about the lag on my Zoom here. Can you all see my screen okay?
Yes, we can. All good. Go ahead.
Okay, great. So thanks for joining the open house today and hearing all about the different programs. So my name is John Stieglitz. I'm the track leader for the aquaculture track at the University of Miami. And so we'll just kind of breeze through this real quick in terms of looking at what we address in this track. It's very interdisciplinary, as you heard some of the other tracks are as well. We have students in the track that really come from a variety of backgrounds. Some of them with fisheries interests, some more on the entrepreneurial side, looking to really make a difference in terms of sustainable seafood production in the world, addressing this challenge. We are actually feeding the world and addressing, critical human health considerations as well through sustainable aquaculture. It's a growing human population. We all know the story. How are we going to feed the ever-growing human population with the limited natural resources that we have here on Earth? It really comes down to supply and demand. And when you look at graphs, I'm not going to bore you here with a bunch of different graphs, but the main one to focus on here is you look at what's in blue there, that's capture fisheries production. That's what we're pulling out of the oceans over the past decades. And you see the outlook, right? You see everything in red is coming from aquaculture. So we're really not going to pull any more protein out of the oceans than we currently are. And so to make up, to fill that gap between supply and demand, it's got to come from aquaculture. And so, as with any industry, there are good actors and bad actors in aquaculture. And so we focus on teaching students sustainable methods and putting the science behind it in terms of learning about how to do aquaculture in a sustainable way to feed the world, right? And those who may not be familiar with aquaculture, essentially farming in water, right? Farming in the ocean, farming, and do it in land-based settings as well. Aquaculture for looking at sustainable ways to produce animal protein. There's nothing more sustainable or no method that is more sustainable in terms of producing animal protein than aquaculture. And so we're very fortunate to have the University of Miami Experimental Hatchery on Virginia Key. It's right across the street from the main Rosenstiel School campus. We have a variety of different species there at the hatchery. Historically, we've been focused a lot on marine finfish, but more recently, we also have research projects centered on bivalves, oysters, the eastern oyster, as well as different macroalgae species or seaweed species. And some of the projects actually integrate these different species in what we call integrated multi-trophic aquaculture systems or IMTA systems which is really the next frontier when it comes to sustainable aquaculture. We're looking at research-based solutions to improve aquaculture practices all throughout the world, and we're looking at developing more sustainable seafood supply chains, right? The seafood supply chain, we're reminded of how complex it is during the COVID years in terms of where we source our seafood from, but we have a number of students that really end up focusing on this aspect of it, and they actually end up in seafood sales and marketing and all throughout the world. And so that's one aspect of the program. We provide hands-on training to all stages of seafood production, distribution, and marketing. I'm not aware of any program actually in the world that offers what we have here in terms of the University of Miami Aqua Track, in terms of the depth of hands-on experience that students gain. So whether it's focusing on land-based production systems or ocean-based systems, we have contacts. We have a broad network throughout the world with people working in all aspects of seafood production, whether it's, it is the aquaculture track, but they also engage in wild-caught seafood as well. And we're really at the forefront of development of these skill sets in the program. And so a little background on it, similar to other MPS tracks, we have internship programs. We conduct collaborative research. So a number of our students sometimes will pivot during their time in MPS to MS program and eventually can go on to do a PhD, right? So there's really, it is what you make of it. Others are here very specifically for the MPS and are looking to be directly hired into many jobs that are typically available in this field. I believe, I don't have the current statistics in front of me, but we have one of the highest job placement rates in this track in terms of students ending up in a job that utilizes the skill sets that they develop in this MPS track. So, and that's not just here in the US, but globally as well. And
Professor
so
Stieglitz, again, I'm so sorry. I do have to keep things moving here. I do have to pass things over to Professor Majumdar to talk about our weather forecasting. Professor Stieglitz will be available for a breakout session afterwards.
Thank you.
Professor Majumdar, if you're ready, I'll pass things over to you.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm just trying to share my screen here. Can you see my screen?
We can, yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, welcome to the track on weather forecasting. Here are my contact details. And so in regards to the track, the main goal is to prepare students for the profession of weather forecasting. And this is really in many different areas. So perhaps where weather forecasting is most known as the forecasting for the public, for extreme weather events or just day-to-day weather, whether to go to the beach or not. But then there are also many other industrial applications as well, such as agriculture, transportation, insurance, like using catastrophe modeling, construction industry. So there are many, many applications that, weather affects all types of industries. If one comes to this program and joins the weather forecasting track, there are many experiences that one can gain. One is connections with experts, so including sort of small classes, so you get to know your professors very well, as Roland had mentioned earlier. Professionals sort of within our university, also at NOAA across the street from us in hurricane research, a place like the National Hurricane Center, also many others. That we also have a local American Meteorological Society chapter as well. For what one needs for admission in the track, that's a BS in meteorology or a related degree, that we generally look for the strengths in the mathematics and physics to be able to take some of the courses and meet some of the nationwide requirements for meteorology. Here are the courses that are required for the track. And then also there are many electives, and I haven't listed them all here. Just to point out that these are sort of fairly good courses to understand about the structure of weather systems and their evolution, learning tools such as GIS, and then taking a series of elective courses that could be 4 to 5 extra courses. And we overlap with other tracks here. So, for example, Professor Clement mentioned climate change and adaptation as as core courses in her track. Here, some of our students take those as electives. Also, we're developing courses in AI and machine learning, and those will be available in the next couple of years. I teach a course on hurricanes and also another one on predictability. So those are some courses that are fairly unique to our university. For practical skills, in-depth knowledge, developing presentation skills, learning state-of-the-art forecasting tools. This is actually my former PhD student. She works at the National Hurricane Center. We also have MPS graduates who have done internships there and ended up taking jobs there too. Also programming, modeling, and analysis of many different types of data. Some examples of internships in the last couple of years that our students have taken. As you'll see, actually three of them that are listed here are to do with hurricanes that sometimes a hurricane center or hurricane research division have available internships, and here are just some examples of them. With a picture that one of our students, Shannon, is doing, which is investigating the Hurricane Hunter aircraft data and the radar data from those and looking at the eye wall replacement cycles. A recent graduate, Vanessa, has looked at aerosol and ocean chemistry observations and is kind of pairing those up in the Caribbean Sea. So that's an example of a very different type of internship. For careers, the public and private sector, as we had mentioned, and also several of our MPS graduates go on to further graduate studies that they develop quite an appetite for research. And here are some examples of careers that our graduates have gone into. Peyton Collado is now a marine meteorologist for Royal Caribbean, and she's been on some pretty spectacular cruises, including Antarctica last year. And then Sam Campisano works at the National Hurricane Center here as a meteorologist and programmer. So that's another example of one of our excellent student outcomes. So with that, I will stop and look forward to interacting with you in a breakout session. Thanks.
Professor Haywood, can you share your screen with us?
Oh, sure. Sorry, I haven't been sure you'd be ready to go. Okay. Yes, I can share my screen with you guys. Sorry about that. Okay. So hi, everyone. Welcome and glad to be part of this. I am the track coordinator for exploration science. It's a multidisciplinary program of study. We try to prepare our students for sort of a changing future with a lot of different possibilities for them. It offers a flexible curriculum. We want to develop students with kind of an inquiry mindset about our world. So how to have a flexible, inquisitive approach to problems and questions in the world today, mainly dealing with the oceans, but also terrestrial issues as well. There's 4 core courses that make up exploration science, scientific diving, citizen science, video production, and GIS. And then 4 other electives that I work with the students on finding the classes that best fit their interests. So there's a lot of flexibility here to craft a custom degree for you with exploration science. And let me see if I can get this to change here. So what have people done with this degree? They've gone in, done science museum work. They've worked in ecotourism, expedition leadership, media production. They've gone to design dive programs. They've worked in informal and formal science education, citizen participatory science. They've worked in the private sector and they've started their own organizations and businesses. They've worked for governments and nonprofits. And then they've worked in conservation and resource management. And some of the skills associated with exploration science, scientific diving, which is a lot of the students in the program overall do this. They also get small boat handling skills. In exploration science, we focus a lot on critical thinking, how to think about the big problems and issues that we grapple with humans in the natural world, and how to go about exploring solutions or answers to those questions or solutions to those problems. Media production and communication skills are something that students get primarily in the video world. Geographic information systems, which is also something that other students do in other tracks, but it's a great skill across the board. Also, we focus in some of my classes on project design and management. So how to think about higher level thinking of a project and designing it and managing it, so that you can go into an organization with the aims of starting out in an entry position, but eventually being in a position where you can lead projects and design them. And then expedition planning and management is also part of the mix here. So where people worked with this degree, it's varied quite a bit, but we have students right now working for National Geographic Lindblad Expeditions. They've worked at the Frost Science Museum, currently at Colorado State University doing media production work, documenting the scientific research there. I have a student right now at the Nature Conservancy at Palmyra Atoll. Another student helped develop the tech diving program in China for PADI China. And then he's gone on to do work with dive ecotourism in the Philippines, have a student at UNCAR, Center for Ocean Leadership, another student at Ocean X, which is a private high-profile ocean exploration company you might have heard about. Another student founded Seaworthy Collective based here in Miami. I've had students currently or in the past have worked for National Park Service and NOAA. One student worked on a major wildlife film production, which won last year's National Emmy Award for Best Documentary. She was a major part of that production. And then I've had several students, including students going on here at Rosenstiel to enter PhD programs. So the program is definitely can help prepare you for that if that's the route you want to go into to do further research or more advanced academic training. So what kind of students are in this track? The ones that typically do the best are really motivated, self-starting students. They really are passionate about wanting to understand the world. So it's also good. You're here to kind of, you're here in graduate school to kind of learn about what you're interested in, but it is good to have some sense of what you want to do. And we try very hard to help, move you in the direction that of your interests, and those interests will usually evolve quite a bit while you're here. I've found that a lot of students come in with one thing and then they tend to evolve into other interests as they see what the courses are, they meet other students, meet faculty, that sort of thing. Students that do well have a strong sense of curiosity and inquiry. These are people that just want to know about everything. They want to learn about everything. They're very motivated to do that, so that they tend to just absorb everything they can. They take all the classes they can, take all the experiences they can, try to meet as many people as they can. Networking is very, very important here, as it is in most cases. And then for students, it helps to have some science background. This is a graduate school program, so we expect that taking science classes, you're going to need to have some, it helps to have science background. You don't have to, but you're going to have to work a little harder to, get up to speed on some of these classes if you don't have that background, but it's not necessary. So, and I find that students, their drive and determination matters over their degree. I've had a huge range of degrees, students with different degrees, but it's what motivates the students and their determination over anything else. And I'd say the employment generally looks good, but it sort of depends on each student. Everyone's different, and so it's hard to generalize, but we try our best with our contacts and our experience to, set you on a road that will, lead you to something that you enjoy doing for a living and is connected to the kinds of things that drew you here in the first place. So that's a little bit about exploration science. And just finally here, these are some internships. We've managed to place students on 5 continents. Antarctica, where they're doing ecotourism, dry tortugas doing lionfish research, invasive species research, Mozambique, Africa, from community-based conservation projects, Costa Rica, doing looking at rainfall analysis in the cloud forest there. China, as I mentioned, a technical diving program for PADI. Virgin Islands doing coral reef research and surveys. Shark Bay, Australia, doing work on the very unique ecosystems in Shark Bay, which has now led that student to a PhD, which they're about to finish. and then Alaska doing as a naturalist position with ecotourism companies. So those are just some examples. We still don't have anyone in South America, surprisingly, or Europe, but I'm hoping we can round out all 7 continents in the near future. And this is my contact information. I'm happy to talk to you further about this particular track. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Haywood. And we're passing things off to Professor McDonald, who's going to talk a little bit about our marine conservation MPS track.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, no matter how many times we do it, still. I'm Catherine McDonald. I'm the director of the Marine Conservation Track, but somebody asked in the Q&A whether we'll be talking about the tropical marine ecology and management track today in this webinar. Our track coordinator for that track could not be here, but if you're interested in the TME track and you want to come to a breakout room and ask some questions, please feel free to come to the marine conservation one. I'm very happy to answer questions about the similarities and differences between the curricula in those tracks, which are probably the 2 most closely related tracks at the Rosenstiel School. I'm the track coordinator for marine conservation, although I'm very lucky to have help from Keen Haywood, who you just heard from, and Manoj Shivlani, who's a world-renowned expert on marine policy and also helps advise policy-focused students in the track. I'm also the director of the Shark Research and Conservation Program here at the University of Miami, and a decent number of students in the marine conservation track end up working with me as part of their MPS internship. So our track, I know a lot of people have said that they're interdisciplinary, but I'm gonna make my case for marine conservation as the most interdisciplinary because we do turn out students who are strictly social science or policy wonks. We do turn out students who are primarily natural scientists who are interested in how that natural science is used in management. So we're very flexible, we're very interdisciplinary. We have a pretty limited number of required courses, as we're about to talk about, so that you're able to craft your own plan of study. Our goal is to prepare you for being marine conservation practitioners, which also means that we're prepping students for a really wide variety of jobs. Most students in marine conservation fall into one of 3 buckets. They are most interested in science and how it's applied to conservation. A lot of that includes marine field work. They're most interested in policy and management and how we make choices about natural resources that affect their conservation. Or they're most interested in outreach and education. And I would say even within that, there's a distinct difference between people who are really passionate about science communication as a discipline and people who are more interested in working with youth or adults to expand access to environmental education. We're often the right fit for people who are career changers, who don't have a strong science background because the track is designed to give you opportunities to build some of that knowledge and experience, and for people who aren't really sure what they want to do. Because we expose you to so many different things and you have such a flexible course of study that it can help people kind of find their way. Our core curriculum, every marine conservation track student takes marine conservation biology. It's our only truly not very flexible requirement. Almost everybody takes a policy or a law class because even if you plan to go into science, understanding how that science is used is going to be important in your future career. All students take a technical skill requirement. Most of the time that's fulfilled by statistics, although there are quite a few electives that also fulfill it. And a communication class. A lot of students really love taking the video production class with Dr. Haywood or citizen science, but we also have a marine conservation outreach class that's pretty popular. Our coursework incorporates a lot of electives. So with 4 required classes, that means most students take at least 4 electives as well to fulfill their course requirements, including a lot of field and travel courses that can expose you to a wide variety of skills and practices. 2 students coming out of the marine conservation track can have pretty different graduate training and experience based on their interests. In terms of internship and project topics, marine conservation students intern with organizations all over the world. They collect their own data, they analyze other people's data, they communicate science, or they work in education. The flexibility of the track means there isn't a single right answer for what those internships look like. In terms of careers, it's the same. Some folks work in environmental consulting, field science, natural resource management. Others work in project management for National Geographic, environmental education, all the way from teaching grad students down to teaching kindergartners, and science communication. If you want to talk to me about the track and how it works, feel free to shoot me an email. This is my address. But please do be patient with response times because we're the largest MPS track. I get a lot of emails. And so I'm more able to schedule group conversations than I am to meet with every potential applicant one-on-one to talk about their interests, just because of the numbers. I'm very excited, though, to chat with any of you who are interested in marine conservation in our breakout room in a little while.
Thank you so much, Professor McDonald. Next, we have Professor Hendricks, who's going to talk about our newest MPS track, Marine Invertebrate Biology and Evolution, which we are very excited about.
Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can see my presentation. Yes. So I am the coordinator of the Marine Invertebrate Biology and Evolution track, which is the newest track here at Rosenstiel. Also, I'm a lecturer and I work with the VMIC, taking over the role of collection manager, which is we have a large invertebrate collection on campus where a lot of the training and internships take place for this track. Trying to switch slides here. For some reason it's not switching. There we go. So a little bit about the track. So this generally provides training for those who are interested in the, biology and evolution of marine invertebrates. So not only do you gain skills in handling data in genomics, but also you'll learn technical or classical techniques such as those involved in taxonomy. Some of the most important reason I want to stress here for the importance of this track is taxonomists are in high demand. There's many people who are established in the field are at the end of their careers, and I feel like there is a turnover that is happening at this moment, and we're really needing people with those skills right now. And this is an excellent opportunity to learn some of those skills, and not only in taxonomy, but also if you're interested in museum science or genomics in general. And what's unique about this track is we have a very large collection of marine invertebrates that were collected from the deep sea in around the 1950s through 70s. And we use this collection in many of the courses that you will be taking. And I'll go over those courses in a moment, but it's really unique to get that hands-on experience and looking at all the different aspects where you can use these skills, such as in taxonomy and museum science, or working in a molecular field. All of these different skills that you'll develop can be traced back to working in the VMIC. And really, there's no specific requirement for this track. So I try to develop my courses to be very welcoming to students with different backgrounds. And so I do have several students right now who don't exactly have the training in marine invertebrates, but they were very interested in it and they wanted to pursue that further. And so some of the courses do provide that introductory information that you might need that you may not have gotten in your previous degree. So as far as the core curriculum goes, one of the most, to me, the most interesting course is Museum Collections and Data Management. And so again, this is working in the Voss Marine Invertebrate Collection. We do several projects throughout the semester. We learn maintenance of natural history collections, but also there's potential to do outreach, developing displays of the invertebrates in the collection, working with other students and people who come to do tours, so providing that connection between the collection and the public. advanced invertebrate zoology and lab. In this course, we basically go through the fundamentals of invertebrate zoology, but also take it a step further and do some work in the field. On this picture over here are some of the students doing surveys of the local assemblages of marine invertebrates. Another course of evolutionary marine phylogenetics, systematics, and genomics. Practical computing for biologists, so learning how to handle those large data sets, and tropical marine ecology. And then another highly recommended course, but can be replaced with an elective, is the Introduction to Marine GIS. And there are several different options. This is not all inclusive. They really depend on what the student's end goal is. So if you are interested in pursuing a PhD, whatever area you're looking to go into, we can select courses based on your needs. And some of the practical skills, so not only handling data for genomics, but also identifying specimens. We have tens of thousands of specimens in the museum right now that are unidentified, and they've been sitting for about 80 to 100 years waiting for someone to come along and identify them. So you have a really unique opportunity to do your own research, really, and learn how to identify these specimens and catalog them in a large natural history collection. But you also learn how to apply systematics, again, different aspects of museum science, including digitization of the collection and the organization of large data sets. And this is a new...
Professor Hendrick, I'm so sorry. I do have to move on. I know you're offering a breakout session at the end, so I will just encourage anybody who is interested in learning more about this track to connect with you in the breakout session. But I'm going to pass things over to our final speaker before we actually get into those breakout rooms. We have one of our students, Amber Ringel, here to talk about our marine science graduate student organization. So she's going to talk a little bit more about our campus life.
All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Amber, and I'm an MPS student in the Marine Conservation track. I'm also the president of the Marine Science Graduate Student Organization, commonly known as MSGSO. So these are some of the things that this organization does. MSGSO primarily targets things such as community, professional development, and having fun overall. This includes wellness and belonging events, social and professional development events, merchandise, which we design and sell. We fundraise for the Student Travel Fund, and we also hold events throughout the year that enhance the student experience. So these are some of the common social events that we hold each year. We have a back to school party event. We have a really fun Halloween party each fall semester. And we also have a holiday party at the end of the fall semester. We've held multicultural potlucks in the past, and each spring we have a beach cleanup / party, which is co-hosted through the Sustainability Initiative. We also do trivia nights and other fun events, and we do professional development events such as grant writing workshops. So, like I said, MSGSO is responsible for designing and selling MSGSO merch. Rosenstiel merch. So these are some of our recent merch designs. So the Sustainability Initiative's main mission is to strengthen the intersection of science and sustainability by building environmental awareness through outreach events and seminars. And these are some of the common events that the Sustainability Initiative holds each year. The next important thing that we have is fundraising. So MSGSO prioritizes fundraising, and we do this through exciting events for the students. So in prior years, we have held an auction event, which had the potential to raise over $10,000 for the Student Travel Fund. And MSGSO is currently exploring other fundraising options to get students even more involved. And we always take volunteers for these large events. So whether that's volunteering leading up to the event and organizing materials, or volunteering the day of, we always appreciate help. If you're interested in getting involved with MSGSO, there are several ways to do that. So that includes holding a position on the board or volunteering to help out our events, which will earn you an SCF point. Volunteering is a really good way to get more involved on campus and within the Rosenstiel community, and also helps to brush up on your leadership skills. If you have any questions or want to talk to me about anything I mentioned today, you can feel free to reach out to the email msgso@earth.miami.edu. And I also provided my contact information if you wanted to reach out to me personally. Thank you, guys.
Oh, I'm muted. Okay, thank you so much, Amber. So that concludes our formal programming for today for the open house. We want to thank you all again for joining us. We're going to get into those breakout sessions that I keep talking about. I'm going to be dropping the links for each individual breakout session in the chat. So feel free to grab the one that's right for you and join in that breakout session. For those who just have general questions about the MPS program or the Rosenstiel School, myself, Sean Kennelly, Chelsea Begno, and Kayla McEntee are all going to stay on this meeting. So if you just have general questions, you can continue to drop them in the Q&A. We'll be going through some verbal answers to those questions momentarily. But let me get into dropping our links in the chat so you can all join your individual breakout sessions. So we have the first one going out for marine conservation. Again, I believe Catherine McDonald said that if anybody is interested in our tropical marine and ecosystem track, you can also join in there.
Heck yeah.
If you have questions. Have our next two. And our last two. And I'm actually going to stop the recording here.